Hello, and welcome back to my channel. People are saying that people are confusing children about who they are. They are saying that parents are sending their children to school as one gender and children are returning as a different gender at the end of the day. This type of rhetoric is solely designed to scare and intimidate parents that think public schools are gender-changing factories. I do not know of any public school in the United States secretly operating on children during the school day. School nurses are there to diagnose and treat acute injuries or illnesses. Some schools have doctors who come and do sport physicals, but that was the extent of the medical expertise that school offers, or that is the case at my high school. When I was in college, my primary care physician worked at the university's clinic as well as having an office in town where she saw regular patients. Since most students lived far away from their family doctor, she was there to write prescriptions and make referrals. If a college is big enough, they do have a full-fledged hospital on campus, but again, this is for 18 or older. It is my sincere hope that if a student under the age of 18 requires transport to a hospital, their parents or guardians are contacted. The most school, or at least mine, did Red Cross blood drive, and you had to be 17 or older to participate. I do not know of any schools where there are secret operating rooms where doctors are performing surgeries on children. Perhaps at the laboratory school, which is right off of 40 South by Brownsville and Scenery Hill, or at the Judge Rotenberg Center in Massachusetts, which if they truly cared about children, they would demand it shut down. Stop the torture, stop the shock. According to Karen Mansfield of the Observer Reporter, my local newspaper, the laboratory school has been shut down and the land was sold at auction. I will link the article in the description below. Schools are primarily educational institutions. Most public schools and even private schools, if they are legitimate, have the primary responsibility of educating children so that they can become functional members of society. If your children attend a boarding school, then of course faculty and staff have extra responsibility as it pertains to their health and safety. But that should, in no way, override parents' rights and responsibilities. Parents should always have the last say when it comes to medical treatment of their children. Facilities like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center make parents give up their rights. I use Educational Center because that is the official name. That is not a real school where they are teaching students core subjects such as math, English, history, and science. It is a residential institution pretending to be a school while using unorthodox and inhumane forms of abuse as punishment, and they were calling it treatment. The idea that schools are, quote, trancing children is the latest attack thought up by conservative Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican from Georgia, on the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender plus community. She would have people believe that public schools and the American public education system are, in her own words, quote, confusing children into thinking that they can choose their gender, unquote. This is to sow doubt in the minds of conservative parents and mistrust the United States public educational system. It is to effort to funnel, quote, privileged kids into private for-profit schools while shutting down public schools and ripping away special education services and supports from students with disabilities as defined by the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. It is hard enough to educate children with disabilities now. It is to keep these underprivileged people oppressed and ignorant while stripping their rights away. I know. I seen it firsthand. That is truly disgusting, but this is where we are at as a nation. Back when I was in middle and high schools, there was no black students at all. Most of the students with severe disabilities were segregated and babysat. The teachers were just as racist and ignorant as everybody else. I told you how on my class trip the teacher made disparaging comments about black students while representing the school. Teachers are very influential to kids. We need to make sure good teachers have the tools and resources to educate their students, so they do not believe in outlandish and ridiculous conspiracy theories. We need to support public education that includes all children. We need to make sure our schools are the best that they are. If children come to their parents questioning their gender identity or sexual orientation, sit down and have real, honest conversations with them. Seek out professionals not to, quote, cure them, but to help them through this transition. No doctor should ever be operating on children without the parents' consent, and certainly not in a school's nurse's office. First, it is not a sterile environment. Second, it violates ethic rules. Third, students should not be pulled from the regulator education classroom. And fourth, it is against the law. I mean, a school nurse can't give a student Tylenol, an over-the-counter pain reliever, without parents' consent, let alone operate on them. This is so over-the-top ridiculous that I do not know how any news organization can report this. When I heard this, I was just blown away by the absurdity, and from a public official no less. I might be out of school for 20 years, but I know schools are there for one goal: to educate children so they can be functioning members of society. Education is bigotry apostrophe as number one enemy. We must restore confidence in the American public educational system. We must say to those who are saying all this crap to go away, to quit telling tall tales. If your son or daughter brings an LGBT book home, read it with them, talk to them, tell them you will love and support them unconditionally. Remember, schools are not operating on children. That is a Halloween story. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Please share this video across social media so we can spread the truth. I'll see you soon.